One of the most expensive business lessons I ever learned started with something that at that point in time felt like a very smart decision. We opened a cafe in Cambodia and we chose a location that had an eatery with a very good business and we took over the space. We thought that we would be building a bustling business. The place had high traffic. We renovated it really well. I also think that we had a very nice branding. Then we thought that surely people will come. So when we started the cafe, we were excited. And when you're excited about a business idea, right, you don't really see it the same way a customer does. You see possibility, you see the beautiful interior and the carefully designed menu. You imagine people sitting there at the cafe, ordering food, enjoying themselves, telling their friends all about you. And that's exactly what happened. People did come, which made us think that, oh, maybe we're on to something. But I think this is where we also made our first mistake. We confused attention with demand. A lot of people were curious about us. Three young people trying to run a cafe in Cambodia. Maybe they thought that we were silly and just wanted to check us out. So when people started coming to come into the cafe, we interpreted that as, oh, people really like us. Looking back, we were actually creating the cafe more for ourselves. Why do I say that? We like what we were creating. We like the food. We like the look, the atmosphere, and the overall vibes. And we were thinking to ourselves, if we like this, surely other people will like it too. And so many years later, this actually sounds very ridiculous. And I also think that this is one of the many mistakes that people make, not just in business as well, but we always assume that other people want the things that we want. And then the second mistake that we made from this venture was that we thought the location was going to do a lot of the work for us. There was a high foot traffic in that area. So in our minds, we thought that, oh, high traffic equals to customers. And then customers equals to repeat customers, right? So the logic felt very obvious in this sense. And just because our cafe happened to be situated in a place where people were used to travel to, it does not mean that we had earned a place in their hearts. At that particular location, they were so used to eating bak chor mee. And then we changed it into a cafe style kind of Singaporean Malaysian food. The people there were much older than us. We were in our 20s and they were in their 40s and 50s. And they just didn't sit right with the vibes and the interior design and the kind of food that we served. We were trying to change their habits. Looking back, we spent a lot of time on things that felt productive, like the logo, interior, the menu, the look and feel, all the things that make you feel like you are building a real business. I'm not saying that they are not important, they actually matter, but we were doing them before we really answered the most important and fundamental question. And that is, who are we actually serving and who are we building this business for? We had not properly understood the people in the area. What did they actually want? What were they already buying? And what were they willing to spend? We had answers to almost everything except all of these important ones. So after you have invested a lot of your money and your time, it becomes very hard to ask yourself, what if they just really don't want this? It was much easier for us to ask, maybe the menu needs tweaking, maybe we need better marketing, maybe people just haven't discovered us yet. So we ended up fixing the wrong things as well. The cafe didn't just teach me about building cafes, but it also changed the way I thought about building businesses. So today, before I start to get too excited about an idea, I try to step outside of my own head. I will think in terms of the perspective of the people I'm thinking to serve. And I will always remember this, that people will not change their behavior for you just because they saw you work hard. You will need to capture their hearts first by offering something that they already desire. And this is something that I wish that many more people would understand about entrepreneurship. Your effort is not the customer's reason to buy. You can work for 6 months on something, you can lose sleep over it, you can spend thousands of dollars on it. And none of this really matters if it's not a problem that the customer wants to solve. You can care deeply about it, and the customer can still say no. If one day I were to start the business again, I would spend less time designing the business at the beginning. I will spend more time observing and talk to the people that are using that area. I would want to understand why they are there, what do they eat, what do they usually spend on, what do they complain about, and what they wished had existed. Most importantly, I will also ask them what would make them choose a business over and over again. So basically what I will do is to try to collect evidence first before making large commitments. And so if you are building something right now, be it a business, a career, even a new chapter of your life, maybe this is something for you to think about. There's nothing wrong with loving your idea, but your love for that idea should not be the evidence that this is a good idea.